With everything that was going on at the time, the outbreak in Arklay Laboratory, the operation by S.T.A.R.S, the corporate backstabbing with Wesker and Birkin, it's almost easy to forget about the non-combatants trying to live their lives. Many fell after the outbreak in Raccoon City, which only grew worse over time. But there was one who somehow managed not only to stay alive, but also to escape with some help, and we're talking about none other than Sherry Birkin. Born in 1986, Sherry's life is pretty much what you'd expect from someone with two busy parents. Comfortable but uneventful, secure but lonely. As Dr. William and Annette Birkin researched the T-virus, and though they would be transferred to Nest, located below Raccoon City, she would rarely see them. Sherry was a student of East Raccoon Elementary, which is ironically close to the Raccoon Police Station. For her, every day was the same. Wake up, go to school, come back to an empty house, and then sleep. Until that fateful Thursday. Living nightmare. For many, the catalyst of the Raccoon City outbreak began when William Birkin was killed by Umbrella Security Service members who sought to retrieve the G-virus. Before he died, Birkin injected himself with the virus, mutating into a horrifying creature that went on to slaughter the team, which then led to the virus infecting the entire city. A few days later, as the populace began to mutate and infrastructure collapsed, Sherry left school and retreated to the police station. While hiding out and avoiding her mutated father, who was now beyond reason, she was discovered by Claire Redfield. The latter would end up fighting against Birkin and surprisingly repelled him. Scared out of her wits but assured that it was safe, Sherry accompanied Claire, revealing that she was looking for her mother who worked as a researcher for Umbrella. Claire subsequently revealed that her parents had passed away, and that only she and her brother remained. Some common ground between the two, which probably helped put Sherry at ease. As they made their way to the parking lot to escape, lacking the necessary keycard to open the shutters, Chief Brian Irons suddenly appeared and demanded Claire surrender. After ordering Sherry to tie her up and then accompanying Irons, he would open the shutter and leave Claire behind, Sherry in tow. Claire fails to give chase but notices something strange, a locket, seemingly dropped by Sherry. Trapped in the Raccoon City orphanage, Sherry attempts to escape. She runs into the office to retrieve the key and discovers the corpse of Catherine Warren, the mayor's daughter. Irons shows up soon after, but Sherry manages to stun him by tossing a bottle with acid at his face. Despite running away and hiding, he eventually nabs Sherry, but suddenly William appears, grabbing Irons' head and seemingly infecting him with something. It's only later, when Claire arrives at the orphanage, after a phone call from Irons demanding the pendant back, that she runs into the corrupt chief and sees that same something burst out from his body, alien style. Claire reunites with Sherry underground, but they soon run into Mr. X. Before he can attempt anything, however, William appears, piercing through its body and eviscerating it. Further mutating, he rams into the door that Claire and Sherry are behind, knocking out the former. She's conscious enough to see Sherry running away, and after some time, wakes up to see an unknown woman checking on her. Assuring her that Sherry is safe, she reveals herself to be Annette and appears to be more concerned about finding William. Not knowing they're Sherry's parents, Claire ventures forth to find her in a pit, talking to someone, revealed to be Annette. However, she suddenly kneels over in pain, after which Annette reveals to Claire that Sherry was implanted with the G-virus, seemingly in the same way as Irons, and that the only avenue of treatment is in her lab. Boarding the tram for Nest, Sherry reveals that the pendant was given to her by Annette the year prior for her birthday. As her infection worsens, Claire brings her to the lab and finds a vaccine for the G-virus. After it's administered, a heavily wounded Annette, William's doing, reveals that Sherry is officially free from the G-virus. Annette kneels over, and as the self-destruct code for Nest goes into effect, she apologizes to Sherry for everything and tells Claire to save her daughter. With administrative access from Annette, the two venture further down to the evacuated train leading out of the Nest. Claire reunites with Leon, who briefly says, okay, when introduced to Sherry, but they're not home yet. William is back and even more disgusting than ever. Working together, the two manage to repel him, and he's engulfed by the lab's explosion. As they finally get away from Raccoon City, the three walk off into the sunset with Sherry, hopefully joking about how Claire and Leon could adopt her, and maybe get a puppy and a parrot and learn the piano. Yes, really. Joining the war on bioterrorism. While Claire eventually splits off from them to continue the search for Chris, Leon and Sherry are taken in by the US government. Because she was infected by the G virus, the state wants to use her as a research subject, unless Leon decides to join the anti-umbrella pursuit and investigation team at the behest of Adam Binford. Sherry then resides with Derek C. Simmons, but unbeknownst to the government, he works for The Family, led by Carla Radamez, who betrayed Simmons after he turned her into a clone of Ada Wong. Using Ustanak, Carla takes them to China and keeps them captured for 6 months. Fortunately, they manage to escape, venturing through Lanxiang and reconnecting with Simmons, who acts as Sherry's boss. However, they meet Leon and Helena Harper first, who help them ward off Ustanak. They learn that Simmons is responsible for the terrorist attack on Tall Oaks. Upon rendezvousing with him, they also discover that he orchestrated the US president's death. While his minions open fire on the group, Simmons is infected by the enhanced C virus, a little parting gift from The Family, who decides to cut ties with him. Leon and Helena chase after Simmons. Meanwhile, Sherry and Jake are captured, yet again, by Carla's troops. They're taken to an underwater laboratory, but fortunately don't have to wait 6 months to escape as Chris and his partner, Piers Nivens, arrive to save them. While Chris and Piers deal with the BOW hatched from the cocoon underground, Sherry and Jake discover a train leading out of the facility. Battling Ustanak, they finally succeed in killing it with an elephant killer magnum shot to its heart. Escaping the lab's destruction, Jake decides to part way with Sherry, but gives her a sample of his blood, which can be used to manufacture a C virus vaccine, and later on is even nice enough to ask $50 for it as opposed to the original asking price of $50 million. In this way, Sherry made her own contribution to saving the world from bioterrorism, ensuring that a Raccoon City level outbreak would not happen on a global scale. What you should remember going into Requiem. Based on the teasers thus far, it's clear that Sherry returns in Resident Evil Requiem, and this time is seemingly filling the role that Ingrid Hunnigan would, providing backup and intel to Leon for his investigation. A glove on her left hand seemingly suggests that she's infected, but whether that's in the same way as Leon or not remains to be seen. How she'll ultimately get involved is also unknown, but would a return to Raccoon City be on the cards? Is there any possibility that she meets Claire again? It's not too long before we find out.
And that'll be about it for this one. If you guys like what we're doing at Gaming Vault, please consider subscribing to our channel, and I'll see you guys on the next video.